take it possibly to state. Veteran that's at it every year. They opened up with a big crushing, I don't know, was it 53 Zippo against Heritage? And there he is. Gets younger every year.
He gets younger every year. Hank Sawyer and the Titans, 1-0. Always good to be 1-0. Coach, thanks for joining us tonight. How you been?
Thanks for having us. It's always good to get that first win, no matter who you're playing, because so many things go wrong on the even for the great teams. So many things go wrong for the kickoff season opener. And so we're fortunate and we're blessed to have to be 1-0. And I've been watching a lot of college football this weekend. I think I died and went to heaven yesterday. So many good games on.
Yeah, and it's a neat thing. We were talking just a moment ago, Ed and I, about this. That I remember, and part of the things that made me wanted to do this, we were doing our show, our 757 Saturday Sports Talk program, which, as you know, for many years you've been a part of, coming in studio on the radio side after your first state championship with all those guys like Brandon Lynch and Brandon Porkchop Moore and Jalen Holmes, who now plays for the Washington Commanders. Then you won 2 more rings, and your wife Sandra has rings as well on the girls basketball side of things. But I remember you brought in that young man who had I always say, handshake of death, Darnell Ewell. What a tremendous young man he was. He went to Notre Dame. I know he had to medically retire early, but he went to the Fighting Irish, and Ed was as happy as could be when he chose them that day. But you also have not just Darnell Ewell, a former Irish player. You had a guy you sent to Miami as well.
Yeah, Travis Williams.
Yeah, you keep in touch with both of those young men, how they're doing these days?
Yeah, both of them are working here locally. Darnell Ewell, believe it or not, is a math teacher, but I always know he was smart,
Yeah.
And, he got his degree from Notre Dame, and so, that's very impressive within itself. And Travis ended up he stayed at Miami a couple of years, and then he got his degree from Youngstown State. So both of them, that's the thing that I love the most. It's not so much the state championships or the wins, is the college degrees that my former players have, because they'll take you a long way.
Yeah, they really will. And Ed's can't really get this thing going, Ed, until we give you that music you can bob your head to. There you go, Ed. It's playing now. You're excited now. But you look a little nervous. This might not be so easy tonight, Coach.
Rookie quarterback, Hank. Noted we got a rookie quarterback out there. Miami's got a very active defensive line. It's going to be you got to give Love the ball and the wide receiver with Great House. If you can get it to those two playmakers, I'll be okay.
And I personally think that Maurice Freeman is going to try to establish the run and hold when he has to. Just he kind of seemed like he got things down last year when he had a national championship run, and of course he threw the football around, but they also ran it. And when you can run it, you can control the clock.
Well, and I think, Hank, try to get some more football talk here real quick. You got a rookie quarterback for the most part, red shirt, I think freshman or whatever, so he's been there. You would probably put plays in him that don't have him running around, looking long, holding onto the ball. It's probably quick stuff, handoff, over the middle, a little flare out. How would you handle a rookie quarterback in a big setting like this?
I take what they give me. A lot of coaches, they want to impress the fans on how much football they know, and there's nothing wrong with throwing a trick play or two in there. But my philosophy, especially in the big games with a younger quarterback, take what they give you and don't force anything. And then, then when you get them back on their heels, then you can open up your offense.
Now, you're a Notre Dame fan too, Coach Sawyer, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. And I like Maurice Freeman a lot. Very classy guy. Of course, I met him when he was assistant coach. What amazes me is how many coaches that were assistants over the years that I've met that are now head coaches. And I'm just kind of blown away. And I still have some of those guys' same cell phone numbers. And sometimes I'll call them on the off season and we'll just talk football. And I may tell them, hey, what happened to me? What would you do? And just to kind of get their ideas. And those, the great coaches steal ideas from coaches all the time.
Ed's a thief. That's why he's considered a great coach. He's a big-time thief.
Once again, take what they give you.
Take what they give you, man. Whatever I can use, it's going to work. As long as I got one more point than my opponent when the horn blows, I'm happy as can be.
Well, the one thing I think Ed has going for him in Smithfield, he's got old Keith.
This is true. You got Keith, although wait, Keith was not at their opener that they lost to Lafayette, but Ed was there. He was saying on the show yesterday, Coach, how impressed he was with the young man. And we got Coach Linslater to come by later, knocking tackles everywhere, linebacker, quarterback, bomb hog. And it makes me think you and Coach Lynn, your old school coaches, disciplined coaches, and part of your championship teams, one of the best quarterbacks you had, Shaheem Johnson, who was a bulldog and a linebacker.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And James Miller played Rover when he played at William & Mary, and he was a quarterback. So, I mean, those tough kids, hey, use them. They understand the game, and that's pretty good. And, I was impressed with Andy's quarterback last year when I watched some film they were playing another team that I had to play, and I watched them, and I was very impressed with them. So just take what they give you, and those Bulldogs, those tough kids, they're going to win more football games for you than anybody.
But I'll tell you this, Ed's going to jump back in here with it. We're looking at the numbers that your guys put up on Friday night in that 59-0 shutout of Heritage and Madrigal Clark, 85-yard kickoff return to the house just 13 seconds in. You got a 2-point conversion. Keon Johnson had 3 touchdown runs. Jeremiah Farabee found the end zone. Dominic Clinton, I know his pops played for you. Tight end got a touchdown. Latavion Hill had a couple sacks. Peyton Maddox had an interception. But he's going to tell you to keep putting that bomb up, Coach. Kevin Adams had some touchdown passes in that one, a run. He's going to tell you to throw it on fourth and whatever. Keep throwing the bomb is what he's going to ask you to do.
Yeah, they're gonna probably save that. But what happened was when they put a lot of people in the box, and we was able to. Majero Clark is very special, and he got one-on-one with a guy, and I'm not really sure what kind of speed he has, but I know he can catch the ball and make people miss. So, we did that, and he probably want to throw the ball every down, but he's just a kid, and sometimes you got to teach kids football as well, take what they give you. In any level, if you can run the football, you're gonna control the game the same way Florida State did yesterday. They ran that football right at Alabama, and I just like college football, and the game plan was to control the ball, and that's what Florida State did.
Yeah, so true. Ed, they're introducing the Miami Hurricanes guys. Are you booing from home here? They're showing Devin Hester. They're showing Jim Kelly. They're showing Ray Lewis. Coach Sawyer, you have to love you some Ray Lewis. That's one of the best linebackers of all time. Is he in your top 3 of all time?
Yeah, I heard him at a USA football camp in Florida a few years back, and I met him, and such a great guy. The one thing I liked about him, he was so humble. He was acting like the high school coaches were the superstars and not him. And I just love that, how he just bonded with all of us. It just made us all feel special.
Yeah, they just showed it. Ray Lewis going up by the field, got a white hat, couple chains out. Man, I almost thought that was Hank Sawyer on a leisure Saturday afternoon in the offseason. And Jimmy Johnson winding up the.
Yeah, I see him winding it, and he's flashing a U sign with his Miami shirt on, and I mean I'm just glad this game's on, because it used to be a very powerful game for everybody, all the fans, and I like Miami some too, especially Travis Williams did a great job for us, and he played there and he went there, and he just said it was just game day was just special, and of course Donnell. I see old Ray right there with his hat on. He's got his shades on, and he's flashing his jewelry. There were some good guys, and there's Devin Hester. So just to be in the atmosphere or just watching is just powerful. There's Jim Kelly.
Yeah. Now you're a linebacker guy. You're an old school linebacker. Real quick, before I know Ed's got some things he wants to ask you about this game and your team this year here. Ray was, just magnificent. If you were to rank your favorite or best linebackers you ever watched, obviously one's from our area and Lawrence Taylor from Lafayette High School, Dick Butkus, Ray Nitschke, Ray Lewis. You could go on a list of name of guys. Do you have a favorite or a top 2 or 3 for us?
Well, Buckles would go up in the stands and hit somebody. He controlled the fans and the game. And Ray Lewis just helped you. He just had a motor within himself. And Lawrence Taylor just done some wonderful things. So I would have to go Buckers, Ray Lewis, and then Lawrence Taylor.
Not a bad list there, Ed. Not a bad list.
No, I'm glad you got one of them old schoolers, Buckets, in there, because a lot of people now don't remember. but I remember that dude, and he hit anything. It didn't matter if it was his teammate with a ball, picked up a ball, whatever. And Buckets didn't play around. And it go a little bit further back, a name way from the back, Ray Nitschke, Green Bay Packers.
Yes, right.
Hunter, all over the place.
Right.
You had those guys.
Buckets made running backs come up with mysterious injuries the week before they played him. They just would come up hurt because they didn't want to go through that because he would end their season.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, the guys didn't want to come out of the backfield and catch it because they knew a butt kiss hit was coming. I mean, it's just the way it was. And, Ray Lewis kind of took it to a different level. And Lawrence Taylor, I mean, if we could just forget about his off-the-field things that kind of derailed his career a little bit, he was another one of the smartest players on a football field. People don't understand. Knew the game well. And, again, covered sideline to sideline without any issue, straight, backwards. And he can run people down.
When Lawrence Taylor played at Lafayette was a part of the Peninsula District. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Lafayette was in the Peninsula District.
Yes.
And he just dominated the Peninsula. And kids are using Lawrence Taylor's moves right now off the edge. Some of those same moves, they're using them off the edge to get nice sacks.
You got a score pick for us in this game, Coach?
Yeah, 21-14, Notre Dame.
Wow, okay. 21-14, Notre Dame. I'm going to make you and Ed upset here.
Oh, I knew you were picking Miami.
I actually think Miami's going to win this game. I hate to say this, but I actually picked Miami 20 and Notre Dame 16. They just showed the graphic on the screen on ABC that 6 straight season with a different quarterback. And I think people are overreacting a little bit to the loss of Cam Ward. They got in Carson Beck from Georgia, who I'm not a big fan of. But I think Miami, in a conservative type of game here, the place is rocking and rolling. I think they're going to use their defense and maybe a special teams play to ultimately win this one for them in a close one here. So, yeah, you see the scores there. Ed, your score pick again is?
I had Notre Dame, what did I say, 32-17, I think it was.
He'll change it 3 times, Coach, in between this game. You know what he does? We'll go through our score picks for the high school games. He'll say, didn't I have them 28? No. Change that. I got them 28 to 7. Yeah.
Hey,
change that.
I turn the scores into this joker, and then I lose 18 games, and I got scores that there's eraser marks on it. Now, who the heck was doing that? This joker over here was changing my scores.
Well, you got both of you guys do an awesome job trying to predict those scores with them high school games, and a lot of times you guys are correct, but that's why they play the game. They play the game because there's some kid out there, whether it's high school, college, or the pros, that's saying, I'm going to control the game.
Well, it's funny because Ed's actually ahead of me 1 right now as he got me this past week. Kempsville over Salem. I decided to go, or I had Kempsville over Salem. He had Salem. Kempsville, but it was the only game we disagreed on, which we usually have about 8 or 9 disagreements for week 1. We'll have, I'm certain, more of them. All right, ball's kicked off. Irish get it first here. I see the rain dropping down there. Canes and Irish. I got to ask this, Coach, and Ed can chime in here too. I know you're up late watching film. I know you're crunching all the things, get ready for your game. We'll talk about who you got coming up here with the Hampton Crabbers in just a bit. But I know you love the 30 for 30s that they do on ESPN. I'm sure you've seen the Catholics versus convicts.
Right.
What'd you make of that? And then the 2 coaches, Lou Holtz for Notre Dame and Jimmy Johnson, who went on to coach in the pros. And Lou Holtz, people don't know this. Some people know this, I should say. He has some ties to the 757 when he coached at William & Mary. Yeah, but your thoughts of the coaches, because I'm sure you interacted with them during your days, even before as a head coach, on the recruiting trails and just that whole Catholics versus convicts rivalry from the 80s to now.
Well, Lou Holtz is a very special guy. He can motivate anybody, and that's the thing. And his whole thing was his motivational speeches. Jimmy Johnson was a different kind of fire guy, just kind of scaring the hell out of his players. So That's so even both of those coaches, the Catholics versus the convicts, is almost like those two guys tried to uphold that convict Catholic thing, with their approach to the game, And Lou Holtz taught me a long time ago, you got to be able to run the football. And he said if he was a high school coach, he would run some kind of option, and then he would try to play a tough defense. And so I take those things with me there. Jimmy Johnson kind of said you got to have a big play, or you got to have a player that can dominate the other player. Sometimes your players just got to be better than the other players, and that happens, and that can happen within a season. Sometimes you use strategy, and then sometimes your team just better than the other team. So I take both of those a little bit approach, but that's a part of it. Take what you give them. You got to calm down, and if you go into a game with a certain amount of plays and they're not working, you better have another group of plays that you can maybe go to, or another approach, because it depends on what team you're playing and what players show up for that team.
Nice play there, Coach. Jordan Faison catching it, and now a spin move by Faison after he had that 14-yard reception from the quarterback in C.J. Carr. I want to throw one more out here before Ed jumps in on your comments there, and also the Catholics versus convicts, as well as what he's watching here on this first drive. You guys here pulling for the Irish here in this matchup with Notre Dame and Miami. It's a special Hatfield and Young Cast here on Cova Sports TV as we bring you everything sports related here on our channel, Cova Sports TV. Watch us on Saturdays on 757 Sports Talk. There's a neat little thing. I'm showing the live stat feed I got in front of me here, which is a play or two ahead of the actual game on your television feed. I want to know, Coach Sawyer, is it wrong of me to be sitting around my buddies when I'm watching a college or pro game and spoil what happens with the stat feed? Should I be ashamed of myself doing that?
No.
Ed's shaking his head. You said no. Okay.
No.
Okay.
You got to kind of use anything you can in this world now, especially with sports.
We'll be sitting at a restaurant. I can't say which one because they haven't sponsored the show yet, and Ed will be upset that I'm basically telling what happens before it actually happens there, as it looks like the Canes just broke up a play. 3rd and 9's coming up for the Irish here. But he does not like it when I do that. He gets very upset. Very upset.
He looking to spoil everything, Hank. This is what I got to put up week to week. People think this is a piece of cake, man. Man, it's eating like raw sauerkraut dealing with him. He's giving me stats ahead. No, he'll say this. I got a feeling. Let's bet a stake. They're going to score. And I'm like, no way. It's going good. Son of a gun, 18 seconds later, they score. And I'm like, how the hell did he know that?
Oh, yeah, he's using those stats and all, yeah. But, because you guys are at odds, but you are great friends, that's what makes the whole show so special, So it's always, everybody's got an opinion. And I think both of you guys cover everybody's opinion. Somebody's going to be for Notre Dame tonight. Somebody's going to be against them. The same way somebody's going to be for Miami, somebody be against them. If both of you guys were for the same team, things probably would mellow out. But you guys, even with your chats and you talk to keep everybody, on edge, and I'm pretty sure some guys say, hey, way to go, Ed. Hey, way to go, Matt. So I think that's what makes the show so special. It's just like the whole state on Saturday mornings, everybody watching you guys. And then I've even text you, Matt, and say, hey, I missed the show. Where can I find it? You said, well, they ain't put it up yet. I said, well, when is it coming? Because I want to see it, So.
Well, I appreciate that. And you know what? We got it on the screen here. People can watch our 757 Sports Talk. If you miss it on Cova Sports TV, the biggest thing to do is subscribe. Hit that subscribe button on your phone, your tablet, your computer. You'll get notifications when we go live. You can find the playlist and all the things on YouTube, but it's also available on the television side with Your View and Cox. The channels shown there in Hampton Roads, Nova, Fredericksburg, and Roanoke. And our man Jack Lowe was getting on me because I was spoiling the ACC tournament. He was watching basketball at VCU. There you go, Ed. So he was a little upset at me too there. Tom Hunsberger chimed in, and he's got Notre Dame winning 24-10 as he's watching with us. But they did have to punt the football away, or do have to punt the football away after the timeout here. 11:46 to go, 4th and 9 from the Canes 42. It's scoreless, and we're joined by the 3-time state champion head football coach of the Lake Taylor Titans, Hank Sawyer, our guest here on the Hatfield Young Cast. It's like Manning and Manning with Belichick. We got Hank Sawyer, the dean of coaches, in the 757 to kick us off, Ed, as he's 1-0 off a 59-0 shutout of Heritage with the Hampton Crabbers coming to town on Friday.
Well, a good thing on Hank is we're not the Manning brothers. Thank God we're not brothers at all, because I would be getting a whooping by the parent every day, because I would have been knocking this dude's head off every day the parents weren't home. So thank God we're not brothers. That part's good. Hank, serious question. I'm watching Notre Dame, Miami. And I'm not big on that convict Catholic thing. I think they made Miami look bad using the word convict. And I didn't like it. It had connotation of a little bit, and I'll say it out loud because I always do, about something, race a little bit. Miami wild, undisciplined. They got in trouble a lot off the field. Notre Dame, hands folded, praying, never get in trouble. I didn't like it.
Right.
And I just thought it cast a bad aspersion on Miami, even though they played. That was an attitude they carried on the field. I'm watching the game. I see Miami make a hit in the defensive backfield. Cornerback gets up, and he's shouting at the Notre Dame bench. Now, I've got to ask Hank Sawyer, high emotional game. Football's high emotion. A lot of hitting, testosterone all over the place. Young kids. You're doing high school. You're not doing college. How do you control, to a degree, the emotion of a big game? All right, you're playing big opponent Maury, let's say, or you're in the state semi, and if you lose, you're out. So we got to keep marching. How does Hank Sawyer, behind the scenes, on the bench, how do you handle those kids with that high emotion, blabbing to the other team, whatever? What does Hank do?
I tell them that we know you can't talk this game. And I got signs even in the locker room that they tell them when you go out to practice of the game, you can't talk this game. You have to play the game. And I tell them if your emotions get too high, you're not going to be able to focus on what our game plan is, what the defensive call is, what the offensive play is, because you're too emotional. And football is a team thing, and you got to, you calm down, because you hurt somebody else is getting hurt by you being a loudmouth or too aggressive.
Now, do you have a deal breaker? In other words, you've been through it, you've won like crazy, all kind of players, from kids that graduate and just go in the workforce, kids going to the NFL, whatever. What's your deal breaker? Like, hey, coach, get him out. You tell your coordinator, hey, man, get him out.
Oh, yeah.
And now you flip the headset up and say, come here. What's your deal breaker to pull a kid out of a game?
Well, I just let them know, I just think you're hurting the team. You got to come over here and sit with me for a little while. Let's talk and calm down. You see, because there's always a coach that is no nonsense or have to be the bad guy. And they tell I'm the bad guy, and I don't have a problem with being the bad guy. And sometimes I got to rip them up, and then assistant coach go back and build them back up. I mean, every successful program has to have that guy. Unfortunately, I'm that guy at Lake Taylor, and the buck stops with me. And I tell all the coaches, if you don't like what I said or did, you get your own team, and then your name will be in the paper. See, sometimes your name can go in the paper in a bad way, even when you win, if you just allow kids to do what they want to do. And life's not like that. Life's got to teach them a lesson. You can't blow up at your boss if you got a family, because your family you got to go home and look at your children.
I love that. Ed, because he said the buck stops here. Look at my hat. I got one that says it. The buck stops here. I went to the closet, grabbed it real fast. I had to jump over to the coffee table and past the fireplace, but I got back in time when you said that. So,
and see, Hank, that's another thing, Hank. This joker here breaks into his neighbor's house when they're out. There's a piano. He couldn't play a piano if you paid him. All right. That's in the background. And people say, oh, man, Hatfield has a great place. The young looks like he's living out of a cardboard box, because I am. Okay. And he's got a trap door underneath the coffee table behind him. Sofa that's about $19,000. This joker is got everybody hoodwinked.
sometimes.
Hank, I want to get back into your philosophy stuff. I like it. You touched on something, and I'm in the process of interviewing coaches for Smithfield, for my staff. And one of the big things I brought up quick was, if I bring you on, and I bring coaches on as a tryout. If I got a good feel, I don't sign them. I bring them for a tryout for a couple of weeks. like a marriage. Let's see this thing works before I put a ring on it.
Right.
And then I'll say to them, the number one rule I have for you to me is loyalty. If you don't like what we're doing, you feel that I'm not doing a good job, we can talk about it. But if you feel you should be coaching and you're talking behind back, you got to go. Because if you don't, I'll make sure you don't get another job ever again. Because in our business, coaching business, loyalty is big. You've got to buy into what we're doing. And I'm going to pull from the assistant some things. And hearing you say that, it makes me feel good because I know as I'm talking to these guys, I'm using stuff that veteran winners like yourself are using.
Well, Ed, 99% loyalty is disloyal because the 1% can hurt you. The 1% can get you beat. The 1% that they disloyal will get you beat just like the other way. So, I mean, my whole I'm like you. When I interview you, you know how I am. The buck's going to stop here. It's going to be my way, and that's one of the reasons a lot of my assistant coaches played for me because they know exactly how I am.
Yeah. And that's big. When you can get a guy to play for you on your staff, they know your mentality. To me, that's an asset for your players because they can go to them and say, hey, man, look, before he blows up, before this thing turns around, let me tell you how to do it. That, to me, that's major. And you doing it, I notice you get a lot of your former guys come back and they do a great job for you. And then the key with our turnaround is if that loyalty is good and they always put the kids number one, I can help you get a head job. And I've had a lot of guys move up. So that's how we pay back.
I mean, some of the assistant coaches are around the state or whatever they played at Lake Taylor. They played for me, and what happens is they'll use something that I taught them, and then they'll change the name of it and be successful in it. And then people tell me, "Man, you too old. Go home." And I was like, "Well, if I'm too old, why people still using our stuff? We just changed the name of it." I recognize it. I have kids call me all the time. They graduate, they coach. Such and such, they did what we did. They're using our stuff. And I said, well, ain't nothing wrong with that because if something worked, I'll steal it. My old friend, Rich Morgan, I told him, I scrimmaged him his first scrimmage when he came to the 757 and was fortunate enough to beat him up pretty bad. And a couple of weeks later, I saw, well, he used some of our stuff on defense. And I said something to him. He says, you don't have a problem with it. No, I said, I'm just saying it because I'm honored that you used it. So good coaches, if you got good things, they're going to use it.
Big stop moment to go by Boubacar Traore, coach, a 6'4", 238-pound defensive end who's a sophomore. Those are your type of football players as it may.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to punt it away.
Yeah.
Notre Dame defense looking good. I'm getting a little nervous about defense, but they're staying right in there. Miami got those speed guys on the outside, and they're doing a good job staying with them.
I think so too. The reason why I picked this game 21-14 because I think both teams' defenses are good. However, first game of the year, both teams sometimes have slip ups, on blown coverages or missed tackles and all. But I don't know who set the college schedule, but this weekend has just been amazing. And then I think everybody's even waiting for Monday night to see old Belichick, see what he does at North Carolina, just because of the name.
Yes. We talked about that with David Teal a couple weeks back. If people missed that, you can go check it out on our podcast page on Cova Sports TV. As you see the numbers showing on the screen there, the stat broadcast feed. And one of the things, too, that I want to touch on with you, Coach, we brought it up on our show a couple weeks ago as well. We played your conversation with us after your scrimmage with Nansman River and the passing of the late Billy Morrow. But it takes a village, as you well know. Your wife, you, coaches before you, like the late Burt Harrell, Billy Morrow, and then your assistants. You've had so many. I know you lost Coach Floyd a couple years back. You've had Coach Barnes with you for many years. So many familiar faces. Coach David Floyd for years. Mike Whittington, who was with you as your line coach, and your statistician guru, if you will, for years and years. You can talk about that a little bit, what it meant to have those statistical numbers and how it impacted you all. But just everything that those people, because they're members of your family, basically. They become part of your family, don't they?
Yeah, oh, yes. And like Mike Whittington, I still can call him on something. And I say, man, we're not playing Lakeland. Look at this play. How should I block it? And he'll tell me. And he'll tell me. He just made some things easier for me, stat-wise, and some knowledge that he had and some relationships all over the state. even at the Virginia High School League, and he still helps. And, my whole philosophy, and once you're a coach at Lake Taylor, you can always come be a coach, even if you retire. Come out there to practice. Come do something. Come. And be honest with me. David Floyd came to the game the other night, and everybody else was, patting us on the back. We did this and we did that. He said, "Hey, we need to do this." Anthony Church, he was on the sideline down there. He said, "We did this, but them defensive linemen got giving up too much time." So, once you're a coach at Lake Taylor, you're always a coach. And a couple of years ago, last year, one of the guys was selling these whistles, the same whistle he sold to Mike Vick and all. And I bought every coach that ever coached for me a whistle. John Quinlan, Mike Whittington, and I called him. I said, "Come over to school. I got something for you." And I gave him this golden whistles with their name, the initials, and the state championships on it. So sometimes you got to do special things just to let coaches know, hey, football's over, but I still appreciate it. The person that I'm trying to beat and get or tie is my wife. She has 4 state championships, and she don't ever let that ride that she has 4. She always said 4 is bigger than 3.
You've had so many quality people from Sean Banks and Mike James, your offensive coordinator. And how about that? You brought up John Quinterly, his daughter, who your wife coached for a second. And Eddie can jump in here. We got a fumble, turnover, and it looks like the Canes are going to recover inside the 30. Big hit by Mr. number 5, Keontae Scott, the senior linebacker. You guys, I might be ahead of you guys. I don't want to spoil it if I am. Apologize. But
yeah, because I'm watching a car commercial right now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
really?
am too.
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
I'm watching
I'm way ahead of you guys. I'll have to adjust as I guess my feed's a few plays ahead. But no, going back to the point though, Janiyah Quinterly with the Dallas Swings now. How about that?
Yeah, but she was my ball girl. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
And if you go in the gym and you picture the first state championship, she's sitting right there with us, and she was special. Man, even then she was smart. She would be talking to me on the field and practice about plays and stuff. And she'll say, "Run that play, it'll work." And what a knowledgeable young lady, I'm so proud.
Ed's still mad at me. I know you're proud to death, as you and your wife should be about JJ Quinterly, who, by the way, is teammates with Isaiah James from Princess Anne High School. How cool is that to have not just a pro there from our area, but they're teammates together too in the WNBA?
Yes, I mean, of course, if they get homesick, because I don't care where you go or who you are, whether you're a male or female. When you lead a 757, when you live here, you get a little homesick for it. So to have someone else from this area, it helps you. It helps you stay level-headed.
I just saw it.
Ed? You just saw it? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I just saw the fumble. I'm a little nervous more because Hank mentioned about Notre Dame establishing the run. Matt showed those stats. First quarter's half over, and they have 1 yard rushing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Did it improve yet? No, 1 yard rushing.
Well, they just turned the ball over, so it's not going to improve when you turn it over. As coach, I hate to bring up a sore subject, but that was the turnaround from your scrimmage to your game that counted. Good thing to have it happen in a scrimmage, not a game, but you got to turn the ball over against Nansman in scrimmages. You didn't turn it over, I don't think, at all against Heritage, and you got 59 points from it.
Yeah, we had to clean up some things. And, it's like when I go to practice tomorrow, those poor kids, I feel sorry for them because that celebration is over. We back to square one, running, conditioning, we got to scratch where it itches at, and I can look at a film and I can stay on 3 plays the whole film session. And I hear the kids when they come out of the session say, "That man is crazy. We only went over 3 plays and he saw 50 mistakes."
Hey, you football guys in the film, like I said, you ain't got nothing over the old Cisco and Ebert. You can go play after play, running back. We'll film it. I'll bring it down. Sometimes I'll bring kids in individual. Basketball, I guess, will be a little different. Football, there's so much to see. And then you've got those 3 big units of offense, defense, special teams, because you switch. The ball stops to switch on all 3. Then basketball, for a lot of you, got to go up and down. You got kids in there can't play D or they can't play offense, and the ball finds them, and they're shooting from half court. And I got to yell timeout, and then I got to substitute whatever. I always get crazy when my assistants say, "Coach, we need a timeout." I said, "No, we don't need a timeout. We need to pick a whole nother doggone team. What the hell is going on out here with all this? What am I going to do to timeout? Start yelling and then get fired?" I said, "Give me 5 more guys."
When I was at St. Paul's College coaching football, my first year, we had the 16 millimeter film. and I broke a projector. I threw the projector on the floor against the wall because the team we were playing was good. That's how mad I got.
Wow. Through the projector. Well, Ed can tell you about him breaking his hand at halftime of a game, right? And you break your, don't shake your head. You did. This is a true story. Go ahead. Don't fill the audience in on it. Go ahead.
And we were up 6 points.
Wow.
Yeah,
I've been there. You just upset because the other team's pretty good, and I got to figure out a way to stop them.
Hey, Hank, that's all that is. I try to tell Matt and everybody else. When we're young, rambunctious as coaches, we get too emotional. But as experience sets in, we realize, okay, I'm not breaking another projector or whatever,
right? Because I got to pay
for it. And when I broke my hand, as we went out there, I told my assistant, I said, man, my hand is killing me. The next day, it was all puffed up. I had to go explain to the principal what happened. I didn't hit nobody, whatever. And you and I both know, in your situation at St. Paul, when those kids left that night, they were rolling on the ground. Coach broke a projector. He's going crazy. A young broke his hand hitting the locker. Well, what did he think? The locker didn't hit back, but it's made him back. Those kids are just laughing their butts off. You know?
Yeah. Well, when Sean Banks was playing, he reminded me, we lost the game when I was assistant coach at Granby with Hudat. We lost the game, and I thought we should have won the game because I was the defensive coordinator. I was so mad with the team, the coaches, and everybody. I walked back from Chetham Field back to Lake Taylor, and back to Lake Taylor, back to Granby. And I was so mad as I left Chetham Field, I tore my shirt off. So they were trying to figure out who was that crazy coach walking back to the school. I didn't even go into school. I lived in Hampton. Then I got my keys and I went home. And I didn't talk to anybody till that Monday when I got to school.
Goodness.
So I've come full circle.
That is something.
Yeah, it is. It's emotion. It's the emotion part of the game. And, and I tell people, I think back to some things I did when I was a younger coach. I never cussed a kid out, never put my hands on him in an illegal manner because I coach my kids the way I would want somebody to coach my own son.
Right.
And yes, you can get on them and whatever, but let's not go overboard.
Right.
And I know some parents will get a little crazy. Well, coach is mad. He punched the locker. He's going to punch a kid. No,
exactly.
Trust me.
Right.
The good Lord has a hand on my shoulder every time in a game. And I love the game, the kids too much. I ain't going to do something crazy. We just have to, as coaches, we got to mature and make changes as necessary to become better. And I think if we do, Hank, and I'll blow our horns right now, we wouldn't have lasted as long as we have had we been doing stupid things along the way.
Well, you got to figure out how to weather the storm because there are going to be storms all the time. It's funny. People say, hey, did you see the article that Matt Hatfield wrote? I said, yeah, I saw it. I said, well, he didn't lie in the article. He just told the truth. I thought he was your friend. He is my friend, but he's got a job to do. I said, he didn't tell a lie on us, I said, so I'm okay. And of course, I take that thing as positive. And that's once again, I tell the coaches, we'll run that play when you get a head job. Since your name's not going to be in the paper, mine's going to be in the paper,
That's a good point. Well, I know I'm ahead of you guys, but you're going to like what you're seeing as they go to a commercial break up there. I don't want to spoil it here. Irish holding tough defensively.
They blocked the field goal
try. Forcing a field goal try. And, apparently you did see the situation, what just transpired there. Special teams can matter. Coach, I don't know, did you watch early the Virginia Tech South Carolina game? Big punt return swung that game around, didn't it?
Yes, and the thing about special teams with the kids, some of the starters, they think it's a joke, and those games can help you win. Gerald Clark opened its touchdown, 85 yards. He helped the coaching staff. Forget we had the lead. He helped the coaching staff because the first game of the year, no matter who you play, all the coaches on edge, you want something to get you the advantage to calm you down. He runs an 85-yard touchdown. I'm going over to get a bottle of water now. I wouldn't have drank no water if we was on offense. I'd have been right there listening what the offensive coordinator calling, because I always got my 2 cent worth in it. I say, don't call that play. No, sir. I'll call this play. Even though I'm not the coordinator, I got my hands in everything. And you have to as a head coach. I don't care who you are. I was watching Kirby Smart yesterday. I was watching Florida State coach. I was watching Ohio State coach. those guys were all over the field, they and everything. And I was like, well, I'm not crazy. I'm doing the same thing they doing. So, let me keep doing it. It's working for them.
Well, I want to ask you because it's funny we bring this up. We've talked about so many of your former players, and we want to talk about a couple of your current guys. We touched on Madrigal Clark there for a moment, but on the matchup with Hampton coming up here with Hank Slater, the longtime head football coach of the Lake Taylor Titans, 3 state championships and a decorated career, Hall of Fame career with us here on our Hatfield and Young football cast during the Notre Dame and Miami game, which is scoreless right now. Ticking down late in the first quarter. As you saw a little while ago, we got Gary Hess from Richmond High School football voice joining us. We got Anthony Joffrey on a Kings Fork. Dwight Vick's going to come on at halftime from Victory Life, former Crabber and former Virginia Tech Hokie, who's got his nephew now at Bethel and Derrick and his cousin Michael coaching the Spartans of NSU. But, former guys like the Jalen Holmeses, the Brandon Lynches go on and on and on. Nairi Quinterly was the brother of J.J. Quinterly we talked about. And the guy that I made one of the most heads-up plays talking about special teams coach. Go back to it with us. 2014. And Ed, I don't know if you remember this. Lake Taylor won a playoff game against Monacan in which the last play of the game for the Titans trailing, they had a field goal blocked, but Marquise Poole had the presence of mind to not let them lose the game. Tell us, Coach Sawyer, about how that happened. And to this day, you've been a part of some wild games, but that one's got to be, if not at the top of the list, very high on the list.
That was amazing. Of course, when I saw him running, I was hollering run because I do know that rule. I know that rule exists because when I was at Graham as assistant, Oscar Smith did the same thing to us and beat us. And Monica went rushing. They blocked the field goal. They all went to the middle of the field to celebrate. And the ball land there. Marquise Poole grabs it, and he starts running. I'm hollering run. And the Monica head coach Henderson told me, said, well, this game is under protest. I'm going to the Virginia High School League. I said, I understand, Coach, and I would do the same thing if it was me. But I'm going to take this game, and I'm going to head to the state championship.
Which is what you did in 2014, and you went on to win the second one of your 3 rings, beating Salem 41-16. But Ed, that's as long as we live, I don't know if we'll see that again in a high school game where a field goal is blocked in a playoff game. Team thinks they've lost. The kid picks up the ball, runs it in for a score. It's unreal. It's unreal.
Yes, it was unreal. And the funny thing is, in coaching, there's going to be a lot of things that happen that you, as the head coach, you had nothing to do with that. That was one I had nothing to do with it. It happened. The kid had great presence of mind to do that. And people still talk about that game. And I of course, those state championships, they're special for anybody that won or anybody that made it to the state championship game. It's just a special moment, And so I will always be grateful to him for that.
Hank, I got to hit on it. You talk some about it. Matt and I joke a lot of times when we have you on the Sawyer household, championship caliber, husband and wife. But you have told us before, the rankings in your house are pretty easy. Sandra's number 1, and you're on the honorable mention list. So
right.
Where your bread is buttered. That dynamic, how do you feed off each other in terms of, yes, she does basketball, you do football. Do you ever really talk like in terms of working with kids, the way you're coaching kids? I know she has the ladies, you have the guys, but how does the dynamic, and in all honesty, jokes aside, work when you talk? Do you talk coaching?
Yeah, well, when there's issues with kids and all, and we tell each other just stay with them. When they start liking the game a lot, that's when you're gonna get them to come around. But whatever you do. See, it's easy to cut a kid and put them out there on the street. You put them out on the street, and then there's a problem with the kid. So you try to keep them in the program. So then when they come to you when they've had a good football game or a good basketball game, and they're all excited, that's your chance to get your point across. You say, oh, that's really good. But that college coach, he see that film with your attitude, and they don't like it. And that's when you get kids to start to change a little bit, to come around your side. So the more athletic they are and the more plays they make, don't miss the opportunity to put your part in. And they'll say, well, what's wrong, Coach? Well, I like the win, but I really don't like your attitude. We got to do something about that. It's the same way I tell my guys. I don't care what you do. Don't ever let your mother call me and tell me you were disrespectful, because, I love my mother to death. I'm a mama's boy. And if she tells me that, I'm going to be upset with you. And kids want to please the coach. They really do. And so, I tell the parents all the time, I'm not trying to take your place, but it really does take a whole village to raise a kid. And I'm with your son more than you are if you really look at it, because I have him at school, at practice, and you just have him at night. So let's work together to change his attitude. And I tell the parents all the time, we got to do something about the attitude. Yeah, he's a good kid. We got to do something about the attitude. And what happens is kids, they want to kind of hang out with you, whether it's hang out in your classroom, your office, or you all go somewhere to eat, and you got to tell them, hey, man, all that's good, but what you did there, that's wrong, And I use the example all the time to the kids. When you disrespect a teacher, hey, that's somebody's mother. That's somebody's grandmother. If somebody disrespect your mom, you ready to fight and blow up. And so I said, you got to figure out a way to go apologize to that teacher before we play again. All right, coach, I got you. You just can't miss those opportunities to make those things happen.
In our remaining time with you, Coach, and we thank you so much for coming on here with us in the first quarter of our initial inaugural Hatfield Young football cast. We'll be doing this with other sports, I'm sure, too, like basketball and other football games of note here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. But tell me about it coming up. You got Hampton coming in on Friday. Really good quarterback in Marcus Chapman. You guys put up a bundle of points, 59, in fact, in your shutout of Heritage. Give me some keys to that game. I know you've broken down the film on the Crabbers, and you have had a lot of memorable matchups with the Crabbers over the years.
Well, Woodrow and I played at Hampton High a year or two. Woodrow played defensive back at North Carolina State. Of course, he was a whole lot better football player than me, but we all go way back. Now, he has something special. He has 3 kids that first time playing football from the basketball team, and they got some height and all, and it's going to be a challenge for, it's going to be a real good game, and we just got to be ready for it and try to rise to the occasion because, he's trying to get the Crabbers back to, state championship form. And I want to try to get Lake Teller back. We both had some issues with COVID with kids, and now he thinks I know he knows he's got a pretty good team. He's got a little running back that's 5'5" that can just flat out run the ball. So he has some weapons, and our kids got to come ready to play as well as his kids got to come ready to play. So I'm excited about it. I like Woodrow a lot. Very classy guy, humble guy. I guess a lot of people don't really know for him to get that job at Hampton High, it's something special in him within the whole city and that whole Crabber Nation for him to get that job. Trust me.
Well, Coach, as they go to the commercial break here into the first quarter, I want to thank you so much for coming on with me and Coach Young here. And in fact, one of the Instagram followers, I can't put the comment on the screen, unfortunately, with IG, but one of the coaches enjoying it so much, he says, wants me to pass on his number to you to have you give him a call if you're cool with that. Is that all right with you?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we thank you so much for coming on with us. All the best to you. Say hello to your wife for us as well. And the Titans, you might see me on Friday night. We're going to put it up for the audience to let us know what game I should be going to. What's that?
I've been honored today. You guys have made my weekend. I thought the game was good, but just to spend some time with you and Ed and talk some football, it brings up, Ed and our philosophies are a lot. And of course, everybody likes to see people like them. And I've told you many times, Matt, thanks for all your support and things you help me. Sometimes when I have nightmares, the things that I need to get done, when I call on you, you are there to help me and as well as other coaches. And I just thank you that this program and all the programs that you two guys host, I just hope they continue to go on.
Well, thank you so much.
Hank, I appreciate it too, but you hit a nerve. You have nightmares. Hatfield helps you.
Oh,
I have nightmares because this joker somehow goes through a dream of mine, and I'm like, I wake up in sweats.
Wow, he just admitted on a live stream that's worldwide, Coach, that Ed's dreaming about me. That just tells you I'm dreaming. No, what can I say? What can I say? I'm dreaming. You just admitted it.
The nightmare I have, Hank, I got me a nice lady friend. We're having dinner at a quiet place, and this joker ends up being our waiter. So that's how I get the nightmares. Okay, and his fool in the pool segments, where he's in the pool, sneaks into his other neighbor's yard, jumps in the pool when they're gone, and he has what he calls jokes. I said, you don't need to give jokes. Just have your face on the screen. That will be joke enough.
That's awesome. But guys, thank you. It's been an honor. I don't know who's coming after me. Well, if they have as much fun as I've had, they'll have a good night.
Yeah, we got Gary Hess is going to be our
I
following
know
act
Hess,
after
good
you.
guy.
So, yep, and then Dwight Vick at the half. So, hey, always a pleasure, my friend.
Yes.
You be well, and I'm sure we will bump into you sooner than later.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Hank.
you. That
Good
is
luck
the
to you.
three-time.
All right, bye-bye.
You got it. That is the 3-time state champion football coach of the Lake Taylor Titans, Hank Sawyer, with us here on Cova Sports TV. It's the Hatfield Young Football Cast. 1 quarter in the books. Ed and Notre Dame and Miami. It's scoreless. The numbers of note, the team stats of note: 42 yards for the Irish, 83 for the Canes. But it's a defensive battle, just like you and Coach Sawyer like. And we'll come back with more after this quick timeout. You're watching the Hatfield Young Football Cast.